Hey, welcome to the Dog Analyze Anything, the show where science and psychology meet. We analyze human behavior, any behavior, including... Oh, it's going to test me on this one. All right. Picking all of Peter Piper's pickled peppers.
When are they not?
I said it without fumbling.
Are you talking about like picking it for him, like he's asked you to do it, or are we talking about you're in there stealing from him?
This was AI generated, so it said picking all of Peter Piper's pickled peppers. And I think the real incentive was to see if I could say this correctly without stumbling, which
and
I
did it, so we can move on.
No, I think we need to call out if they're pickled. You're not pickling them before picking them.
How many pickled peppers can Peter Piper pick? So
zero, because they're not pickled yet.
But the rhyme is Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers, right?
Yeah. So does it mean he just?
So they've already been. He's in the store. That's the part that's left out, is he's in the store and he's picking them off the shelf.
It changes the whole idea, the visualization of that I had as a child of someone out there picking peppers off a pepper plant, and now it's nope, this guy's just being lazy, grabbing a jar off the shelf.
He's just shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, right? It's the only logical explanation.
It is the only logical explanation. It is.
So we were lied to until we just put it together now.
What's a tongue twister that you're incapable of saying? And try to say it now. Steve, can you say Peter Piper?
Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers.
Got it.
What it was Sandy sold seashells down by the seashore.
Sandy sold?
I think it's she sells seashells by the seashore.
Yeah. Okay, so
Steve nailed it.
Yeah, what's the entire thing though?
That's the only part I know.
I did Sue sells seashells.
I thought she sells, because it's harder to say she sells seashells.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say it. Seashells. Seashells.
We should start each episode like Ron Burgundy. Unique, oh, there we go. Unique, New York. Unique, New York.
Mark from work. Yep.
For me, the hardest tongue twister is the rapid fire portion of Rap God by Eminem.
Is that even a real? That's not that's just him going so fast that you can't figure out how he does it. It's not even a tongue twister, really, right?
I bet you if you try to do it, your tongue will get twisted.
Is it harder than
they used to say? Don't get it twisted.
Is it harder than Busta Rhymes?
I mean, yeah. So
you're talking about "Look at Me Now," Chris Brown's song. They're comparable.
Yeah, is it?
Okay. I would be curious. Let's do that one. How many lyrics per minute they're flying at?
Let's do it. Let's analyze that, Doc.
Let me look it up while you guys continue really quick.
And I'll tell you the BPMs.
There's been a lot of really fast. Some are good, some are not. Like the guy who holds the record, I don't think it was even well known or that good. He just was fast enough to get the world record. So
I saw that. Didn't they slow it down to make sure he was actually saying words and not? Yeah.
So I've never had too much trouble with tongue twisters, but then I randomly can't say regular words or figure out how you're supposed to say them out of nowhere. And so I guess every word is a tongue twister to me.
Talking's hard.
All right. Well, Meow Meow looks this up here. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Dr. Steven Sparks, along with my co-host, Kyle Sturry.
And I'm Kyle Sturry.
Yes, it looks like he has changed his subtitle that only we can see to hotel critic, so we'll have to have him tell us about that.
Send me to your hotels. I'll give you 5 stars.
And then Dr. Bradley Meow Meow Clements, who's really, really trying hard to find...
I got it. I'm just waiting for you to stop talking.
You looked really like you were reading that really intently.
So in the song, Look at Me Now, Busta Rhymes' peak speed is 12 to 13 syllables per second, where Eminem's peak speed in Rap God is 11 to 12 syllables per second, which it comes out to about 97 words in about 15 seconds during the fastest part. So Buster Rhymes is faster.
I mean, it makes sense because that was his thing. He
Yeah, I was
always
about to say,
rapped.
historically,
Yeah.
wasn't Busta just fast?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
same with Tech Nine. Like I'd like to see like Tech Nine's average too, because those are the ones I think of when I think of the fast. But all right. So today we're gonna talk about something it's kind of counterintuitive, just something a little bit different, more conversation, a little bit of analysis built in, but something I've always thought was interesting and noticed, and it's an overgeneralization. I know not everybody's going to do this, and definitely not to the same extent, but it seems like when you're going through a hard time or something bad is happening either to you or you're seeing it happening to someone else, sure, it's aversive, and the worse it is, the more aversive it is because of what you're having to deal with, but at the same time, there's a reinforcing value there. And it seems like the worse it is, the more reinforcing value there is as well. Like, oh, look what I'm going through, the woe is me sort of thing. And so just talking about that and how that might come to be in some examples, that sort of thing, is just not something that seems logical, but I think everybody does it to some extent, and some of us probably a lot more than others. So,
And so let me make sure we got this. Things that are happening to you that are bad, it's more reinforcing potentially if they're really bad as opposed to just kind of bad.
yeah, and to give a real like benign example, imagine us Midwesterners, big storm coming, snowstorm, middle of winter. You're going to get 2-3 feet of snow. Everything's going to be shut down. Everybody's rushing to the store buying stuff, and then we get like 5 inches, and everybody should be relieved because those of us in the northern states, like it's no problem to drive, and even a foot of snow. So that like, but part of you, it's kind of like a letdown, like I was expecting this big storm. It was supposed to be Snowmageddon. I was a little excited, a little nervous, and there's a lot of overlap between excitement and nervous. And now it's coming. It's like, yay, cool. Like, did
How
we
much of
actually
it
need
do you
this?
think is just validation for what it would have been?
I think it's a lot of different pieces there. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but if it's like an injury or something that, oh, nope, look how bad it is. I wasn't just complaining about a stub toe, but like I really have this thing that is going to take months of treatment. Obviously, that treatment's going to be aversive and the pain is going to be aversive, but there is some validation too that any sympathy you got, from the injury compared to like, nope, it was better 2 days later. And now I kind of feel silly that I made a big deal out of this, even though it hurt real bad at the time.
When I sprained my ankle playing basketball as a kid, I remember going to the ER because I thought it was broken, and then being disappointed when they told me it's not broken, it's just sprained, and I wasn't going to get crutches. I just had to be off of it for a while. And I remember, I do know what you're saying. Like there's an element of like, oh man, I'm going to be out either way. I'm not going to be able to walk on it, but I don't get crutches.
Wait, I just want to quickly think about it. They wanted you to not put weight on it, but didn't provide crutches. So were you just supposed
to? They told me to lay and elevate it for like a day and a half with ice, and then it was good. It wasn't that bad of a sprain.
Okay, I was about to say, how are you supposed to walk around then?
Yeah. And sometimes the sprain can actually be worse than the break, you know what I mean? But as a kid, there's something about hearing that you have a broken bone that seems like, oh, this is legit. Even though like I had sprained my ankle so bad in grad school, I was playing on the indoor soccer team for our grad department, and I went to kick the ball, and this girl walked right in front of me, right, and like I was afraid I was going to hurt her horribly, so I tried to hold up, and my planted foot twisted, and my bottom of my sole hit my calf. Like that's how bad I twisted this ankle, and went in, and they're like, "Yep, it's sprained. It's going to take a few months until you're normal again. We'll immobilize it. We'll put you in an air cast. We'll do this stuff." I'm like, how long will it take if I just wrap it in athletic tape and don't pay for all this extra stuff because I'm a poor college student? And they're like, well, about the same amount of time. I'm like, all right, I'll just tape it at home. See you later. You know what I mean?
Have you guys broken bones before?
I've
I
had a
never.
lot.
I've never
Yeah, no, I've
broken a bone.
broken both my wrists, broken my the nose is cartilage, so it doesn't really count. Trying to think, I broken a couple fingers, couple toes. I was told I had a broken like forearm right below the elbow one time, but I think it wasn't. I think I was at a football camp and they're just like, we're not letting you do any activities if you're injured, and so we're just gonna tell you it's broken and send you on your way, sort of thing. Um, but I broke. It was like once a year I broke something growing up. It felt like, anyways.
So something like a finger. When it happened, what was that like? Like, how did
something
it?
like a finger.
Well, I'm trying to think because the finger is a pretty like. If I were to break something, I feel like breaking a finger would be one of the better ones rather than breaking like a huge bone in my leg.
It depends because there's not much you can do for a finger. Like usually just
Yeah.
tape it to the one next to it.
Yeah.
And so you're going to keep jamming it and hitting it. It hurts. Whereas if you break like your ankle or something, like let's say above the joint. So like your shin or something like that, but it's just a fracture. Put it in a cast. It's not going to hurt. It's going to itch. It's going to be annoying, but you're not actually re-injuring it or doing anything to it over and over again, like the finger or a toe. So the annoyance factor of not being able to walk versus the pain of continually hitting your broken finger, like it just depends on what you prefer, I guess.
Okay. When you broke it, did like your finger or whatever, were you like, yeah, it's broken?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, and I've had
As
some
he picked it up off the floor.
Yeah. No, I've had some that was like, it was obviously broken. Like there's still a curve to my pinky at this point because of how it was broken. But then
Just
I've also had some
of the finger.
Yeah. I've had some where like
Peronies.
The carrot, bent carrot commercial. Look it up.
Okay. I'm not going to.
No. One time playing like softball in college though, and I went to catch a pop fly and I was not a baseball player. And so misjudged it just enough that like the cradle hand got hit with the ball. And like that wasn't even broken, but it dislocated and the tip of my finger was pointing backwards. And like just forced it back into place. That one would probably hurt worse than any of the broken bones I had in my hand.
But
I've
did
never
you
broken
feel like
a
it was
bone.
worthwhile the times that you actually broke the bones? Did it make you feel better that it hurt as much versus a sprain?
Yeah, I mean,
something.
It is something
validate you,
and it's something. And it may go back to that childhood, like, oh, this hurts, and all the kids being like, oh, it's not broken, you're faking it. And so when it's actually broken, it seems like you said, like there's a validation there, even though like it probably was way worse the way I had my finger pointing back at me and I had to like physically manipulate it to start bending again over a couple weeks rather than, okay, I just taped it to the other finger and it was healed within a week or two. You know what I mean? So there is something about the title of having a broken bone that probably, I'm sure it goes back to those school age days of everybody saying, or in football or whatever, oh, you're not really hurt. You just don't want to play. You're just a wuss. You're like, this hurts too bad to move, but well, sure, you're the doctor, you know?
I've never broken anything. My kids have all broken several bones because they're
Sounds like
feral.
You just lived a very careful life. And I get that's okay for some people. It's not for all of us, but it's all right for some people.
No, I really didn't. I jumped off a lot of tall surfaces thinking that I remember just helping my dad like roof. He did construction and I would help him roof and he'd be like, let's get the ladder. I'm like, no, I can just jump. I just jump off a 1-story roof and just land on my feet and roll around like I was, I shouldn't have been doing that.
We used to jump off the
wasn't
roof
that careful, Steve.
What an Amish thing of you guys to do, roofing.
Yep.
Yeah, we would just sit on the roof sometimes and then jump off it for fun.
Can't say I did.
Now everything would break if I dropped from 3 feet.
It would not. Yeah, it would not be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't go on roller coasters anymore. I get a bad headache.
I went to a fair a couple of years ago, and even just some of those spinny rides that are pretty, like you look at them, you're like, oh, that's not going to do anything. I thought I was going to die. Like I had not felt so nauseous and disoriented, and it went on for hours.
I loved the Gravitron when I was little.
Gravitron.
The one that spins fast and like pulls you against the back, like the back, so you can't sit up.
Yeah.
And I always joke around now that like all the head injuries makes it so I'm dizzy all the time. I've turned my head too fast. I get dizzy from playing football in high school or whatever. But it might be that time in the Gravitron where I rode it too many times and tried to do like the sit up while it's spinning. And I got so dizzy that I don't know if I've ever recovered from that. Like they might have broken some inner ear stuff with that one because I cannot do anything that's spinny at all anymore. Like MRI from my back last week, and I'm like flashbacks to that, even though it's just I can hear it going around me, and it's just the sound of it going around me is making me dizzy.
Jeez. Yeah.
It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's still I could like you have that moment of like, is this gonna bother me? Nope, I'm good. When you go into that thing, you know.
Speaking of exaggeration, do you wish that it made you dizzy because you'd have a better
No.
story to tell?
No, there's a lot of things that I would put up for attention because that's who I am as a person, but feeling dizzy and like I'm gonna vomit is not one of the things that I would just deal with. Like I wouldn't do well with being on a show like Jackass just because I don't like peer pressure. I just immediately want to say no when someone tells me something to do, especially if it's gonna hurt.
Right.
But I just like if they were trying to do something to make me sick to my stomach, I would like definitely not be down for that. No way
Right.
am I.
It's like the ones where they're wearing like a scuba suit and they hook it up to someone, like ripping farts into it or something.
Yeah, I'm good with it without doing any of those things. I always thought Fear Factor I could do, but the going switching over to the Jackass set I could not. It just would not be for me.
Yeah, the obvious where you know that you are going to hurt yourself and it's gonna be brutal. Like, so the one that always got me was when Ryan Dunn was in a shopping cart and they had him hooked up to like a slingshot essentially, and they even showed him what it was gonna be like when he shot out of the garage and hit a ramp and how bad it was gonna be. But then obviously they pulled a quick one on him, and when they released the slingshot, they dropped the garage door. Like I cannot imagine just being okay with that.
No, there'd be fights immediately after if someone did those things to me. But thinking of it, like, is it really that much different than every day we just made a bigger and bigger bike jump when I was a kid and just rode our bikes off of it and crashed often. You know what I mean? Like
we did that a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
How did you not break stuff? That's the question.
The worst pain I've ever been in has been my bike crashes as a kid. There's been several times. Like I remember we had a piece of plywood and then a bunch of firewood, and so we'd keep putting the end of the plywood and more firewood so that it was just higher and higher. And I was like, yeah, if it's fun going high, so if I put more firewood at the end, I'll go really high. And I remember like getting, who knows how high, and like getting that feeling in my stomach, like I was like getting
Like on a roller
air.
coaster.
Yeah, and I was just like lost control and just landed on my side. And like bike wrecks are the worst because there's no good way to not hurt your ankles. And yeah,
Yeah, I
terrible
remember
laying there on the sidewalk.
I'm just imagining because I did the bike ramps too. I just always think back to the scene in Napoleon Dynamite when like Pedro jumps it and then Napoleon's like, "Did I try it?" And when he does it just like snaps and he just drills himself in the nut. Yeah, I always think about how often does that happen. But my friend,
man.
he I think it would have been like 7th or 8th grade. We're out camping and I'd left the day before, but then the next day when he was out riding the trails on his bike, crashed and the pedal went into like the meat of his thigh, like went into his leg. And then he's like out on the trails and so then has to get back before getting taken to the hospital. Well, he's like continuously bleeding because this bike pedal went into his leg. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how nothing like that ever happened to me, but that was real. So bikes.
I definitely got jammed, but I guess the end caps on my bikes were always good enough not to impale me. I don't know. I remember one time going down
you
a
always
hill
had sweet end caps for sure.
Oh yeah. Going down the hill in the park one time and there was like a hole I didn't see. It was like manhole, but then it had like the bump cover over it. And so not only was there a hole that dipped down, but then there was something on top of that to really catch you and send you flying. And like every part of me just skidded across the cement.
Every part
And
of you.
yeah, I remember I'm in so much pain that like I'm trying to like walk my broken bike home, and my friend just like gives his bike to a stranger to drive it to his house so he can help me get my stuff home. I'm like, it was a rough one.
We were awesome.
Yeah. So few more examples and we'll get into it. Something actually I was when I was looking up examples for this because I know there's a lot. Again, it's almost like a range of what people find too. All right, now this is too aversive. I don't no longer wish it was a bigger deal versus others. But I came across a German term called Schadenfreude, which is their word for when someone experiences uh, pleasure, joy, or excitement from someone else's misfortune or injury. And so this is kind of, I think, along the same lines as that, but I'm usually thinking about in terms of myself when I'm looking at these and considering them too. So we'll talk about it in both ways, I think. But I also always love a new word, especially when I have to try to pronounce German.
Yes,
It's
say it again. Say it again. I want to make it my ringtone.
fun. It's Schadenfreude.
Friday.
I actually
You
listened
made that
to
up.
I listened to Wikipedia do the pronunciation like 10 times just so I could try to get it right. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
So what's going on here with these? Uh, if we think about it in terms of when someone is depressed, they have depression, that sort of thing. Obviously, that's aversive. It's very much you're feeling down. You're not feeling like yourself. You're feeling very uncomfortable. But that kind of woe is me, everything's down, everything sucks feeling is also very reinforcing for some reason. And it's not 100% clear why, except for maybe historically it is paired with the care, love, and attention from others. Usually if you have people that you care about, family members nearby, when you're feeling really down, they're at least at first there for you, trying to help you feel better. And then if you kind of shun it or snap at them or whatever, then they stop doing it. And we've talked about previously with the borderline personality disorder, how sometimes creating turmoil in your life for that reaction, that attention can be so problematic that's all you do is going out and searching for the turmoil and negative things. And so there's some other examples and some other ways to uh, see what might be going on here. But I think that probably generally when it's something happening to you, probably has a big part of why, all right, I'm going to be dealing with this anyways. I hope it's at least big enough that others show shock or awe or sympathy when I tell them what I'm going through.
Yeah. We've all met those people who exaggerate how bad things are.
Yeah.
Or when things get really bad, and you hate to say it, but they just talk about it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, if it is that bad, it's understandable. But if you have the social awareness to bring it up just enough to achieve that reinforcement without overdoing it, so people just don't want to be around you anymore, like that's the sweet spot. That's where you're trying to hit. Although, again, it can shape behavior where people then are over exaggerating situations, so it's ongoing. I mean, you have to have a break between your travesties, otherwise, it's not gonna.
Man,
You
you're
need a
really just
break between
complaining
your
about someone expressing their feelings. You say, wow, this person's so annoying because their life sucks.
I'm trying to help people
It's
that
a
might.
hard,
Yeah.
but that's a hard road though. Like, how do
Yeah.
you? Because, at some point, I'm thinking of very specific people who I won't mention by name, but I'm thinking of very specific people who are like, "How's it going?" And they're like, but you know them well, and you know that their lives aren't actually that bad. They have it pretty good, but it's difficult to reorient them to any sort of like, oh, I didn't do anything today. I just kind of hung out. Things aren't that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
does that sound like really like mean of me to say? I feel
No.
like it's hard to.
no, it's the way it should be. It's a natural progression because again, we know that. All right, say you've gone through a traumatic event, and you're on the other side of it. You re-experience those things, and if your kind of trauma behavior reemerges in those situations where you re-experience some of the stimuli, and people are there to reinforce that, like, all right, we're not going to have you do this right now. Remove this aversive task, or let's get you out of here. Let's talk it through. Let's give you this care, whatever. It can reinforce that behavior, and if you do it long term, it can become generalized to all these different stimuli and cause major functioning issues. And so, I think it's a natural process to get annoyed, have enough, what have you, so you stop reinforcing that behavior of that other person, and hopefully they can go back to normal too. It's kind of like a homeostasis. How do we get back to this normal level? You reinforce the behavior because you feel bad, and then it's like, all right, this is enough, and then they stop receiving that reinforcement, and then they stop, reacting negatively to these things as much. Hopefully, it kind of takes care of itself, and if not, then we hope they try to find someone that can help them through that. But
Just because you use the word homeostasis, and I'm not sure every single person would know it. I think another way to put it into more common terminology is like tipping of the scales, where if you feed into something too much, it will get towards one end and then there won't be balance. And then to stop supporting the behavior brings things back into balance rather than it being on an extreme. You said that I wanted to just kind of bring my lone role here is supposed to be doing that, and this is like the first time in a very long time that I've done that.
yeah, I think it's interesting, and it's probably a conversation to have another time, but generally there's a balance that we're always trying to hit. In all natural sciences, there's a level of homeostasis that earth, water, people, like all organisms try to get back to this level of
All of the Captain
everything's
Planet characters.
right. Yeah. But I mean, like you think about with salinity in salt water, where if one area has a higher concentration than another, it'll try to even out throughout that. It is just something that happens in nature that we tend to do, nature tends to do. And so I think it is kind of might be interesting to go over that in some other episode and talk about all the different ways that even societally, like if you have a rule that doesn't make sense, people tend to swing the pendulum the opposite way to offset the injustice. It usually goes too far and then has to find a middle ground, but we're always trying to find that middle ground, that homeostasis, if you will. So, but thank you, Dr. Meow Meow, for clarifying that for me. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing your job for once.
Yeah, you brought it back. Yeah, you did.
When
it,
am I getting
Brad.
my paycheck?
I'll give you actually, I'm always the one stealing the lollipop, so I can't even say I'll give you a lollipop. But every time I go to take one of the animals to see Dr. Meow Meow at work and they don't have blow pops in the thing, I feel like I need to write a complaint letter about my service. But
I'll be honest, whenever there's the suckers there, and it's been a long time since I took a blow pop for myself, but every once in a while there won't be any blow pops. It'll be Tootsie Pops, and I'm just like, that's cheating people.
Yeah, no,
I love Tootsie Pops.
They're okay, but not as good as a blow pop.
Yeah, no,
you know what?
I'm right there.
You know what I like about the Tootsie Pops is it's like a one and done. With the blow pop, they give the they give the illusion of you get a nice bubble gum afterwards, but that bubble gum flavor lasts like 2 seconds, and then it's the worst tasting
2
thing.
seconds.
Are you telling me
2 seconds?
Are you telling me that you're one of those weirdos that actually like eats it down to now you just have the gum afterwards? Because
what do you mean?
What are you
doing to this blow pop?
Oh, I have like 20 seconds until I'm chewing this thing. I have no patience for this.
No, I'll chew it. Yeah. But you still got the gum afterwards. You swallowing the gum?
No, eventually. But if you chew the plastic shards, if you chew the hard shards into the gum, it holds that flavor a lot longer.
True. But, I mean, couldn't the same thing be with the Tootsie Pop? Like you're only
but I don't want to.
No. I don't know. This is directed at Kyle, not at you.
Counterpoint: it does the same thing to the Tootsie Pop.
Yeah, but a Tootsie Roll mixed with that flavor is not the same as the gum holding the sour apple flavor. They're just not the
Oh,
same.
see, that's another thing
Oh,
too.
you go
Yeah,
sour
yeah.
apple.
He does the wackiest flavor.
I love sour
Wackiest.
anything. This is coming from the banana guy. He
Well,
loves
it's
banana
true.
Yeah,
buns. And,
I am
and
not the center of the discussion right here. This is on you.
yeah. You
all
both
right,
are. You both are rough.
here you go.
What's your go-to
Meow
flavor?
meow.
Just give me classic cherry, and I'm good to go.
No one
Chad,
here has acknowledged grape. I think grape is slept on. Honestly, grape is a solid flavor.
Grape is usually just an afterthought, except every once in a while it's done well. Meow meow. This is your homework. You get with Chad. He brought it up last episode. We'll do it. You guys can just have a call out all the weird quirkiness of me episode. You come together and come up with an hour worth of content, and I will defend myself and analyze myself while you guys call me out for stuff. All right.
But is it gonna be not very reinforcing if we call out minor things to you instead of like real big things? Like Steve likes this weird flavor versus like Steve eats
Steve steals
earthworms
from children.
Listen, I've already told you I'm perfect and excellent, and so you're not going to find anything big to catch me on, and it's fine.
Perfect
but
and
He
excellent.
requires his food to be chewed before eating it himself. Fact. How are you going to defend that one?
I mean, yeah, I don't really have anything for that. But all right, back on topic, you guys. A couple of examples like from my life, thinking about like in a car accident, and you're like, if I just go out there and you've just cracked my bumper, and there's not like something that is worthwhile for me taking the time to set it in, get this really fixed up, and like you can't tell anything bad happened, I'm going to be frustrated. You know what I mean? Or better than that, nothing. There's always a rattle after there's like an accident. Like just total it. I just don't want to deal with this ever again. Get me a brand new car because now you've ruined this vehicle for me. And so that's one example that I've been in.
There is a tinge of hope whenever I'm driving. My Toyota's hit 200K. I love my Toyota, but it's like one of those things. Yeah, a new car would be nice at this point. However, when I'm driving, I'm like, oh, that guy's coming up on me kind of fast. Maybe this is my ticket out of here because I just want it to be totaled.
Just brake check him. Oh, you hit me.
Yeah. Oh, bummer. It's probably going to be more than the car's worth to fix, right?
No, even you let him hit you, and then you pulled the steering wheel hard to the right to go into like a wall or a tree or something. You drilled me into the tree.
No kids in the car. No kids.
No.
Yeah. He says, "Sir, we were going 10 miles an hour, and you accelerated into the tree." Whiplash, but the foot just went down.
Back twinge.
There's a lot of gaslighting going on here, bro.
Even like after the accident, like all right, some minor whiplash, a little sore for a few days, but I almost like want there to be something that can be treated. Like, and that's like I guess another part of it is how many times have you gone to the doctor and they're like, yeah, we can't find anything wrong with you, and you're like, no, but I don't feel right. You know, something's not right there, and they're like, oh, like the ability to have some validation or a path forward when there's something actually wrong versus
Chris Sparks, you were explaining me at my job, I feel like half the time, where someone brings me their animal, and like the classic one is like the limping animal that they come in and I'm watching it and I'm like, there is literally nothing wrong with this dog moving. And I start cranking on its legs, like pushing on things, and the dog just looks at me like, what are you doing? And then I have to say to the owner, I don't know what was going on. Or
I mean,
like, there's so often where I have to look at an owner and I say, I feel really dumb right now because I don't know what's going on.
Well, think about like the times I've gone to the doctors trying to get migraines figured out, and nothing really helps. Nothing really works. The medicine I'm on now may or may not help. I can't tell if it's placebo, if it actually helps, or like just once or twice when I've taken the meds, they stopped it or it's gone away, and so now I think it's helping, even though I wasn't ever going to get the full migraine in the first place. Or like the back pain that I'm in right now, like years of this and just being told, oh, well, exercise it. It's whatever. And then,
your back pain. This one was weird because, so Dr. Sparks always complains. He says, oh, my back's really hurting today. And then all of a sudden, like last week, he's like, yeah, I can't walk. And I was like, Guess he wasn't being a wimp.
But
Well,
this is a different function though, or at least this isn't like attention seeking.
Yes.
There's probably an
No.
element of attention that's necessary, but it is mostly like you need answers, you need relief from whatever's going on, and you're being told no, it's not that big of a deal. So like my
Well-
mom had this when she had a thyroid condition, and the doctor, this was like years ago, but the doctor was essentially telling her like, oh, like essentially you're just being a woman and you'll be fine, it's all in your head type of thing. It turns out she had like legit like Hashimoto's and was actually feeling horrible. But that getting the more, one, not asshole response, but two, the more severe diagnosis was actually validating, because at least now they knew what to do with it going forward.
Right. Yeah. This is a different function. We're talking about almost like it is reinforcing to know at least there is a treatment plan to move forward with versus
Right. Oh
who
yeah,
knows.
absolutely.
Like,
Well, and
we're
for
talking about
you,
my
I'd say,
back,
because
always
I
complaining.
had my back thing. Like, I don't know what was actually going on with it, but like you actually have like an answer. Your pain is validated, knowing
Yeah.
that you have something like truly wrong with your back at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but again, this has probably been going on for years, and it was never quite bad enough for the medical professionals and the insurance company to agree, yup, let's look at it. You know what I mean? And so this
Mhm.
time I can't walk, I can barely move, I can't sit. And they're like, "Oh, I guess we can pay for an MRI this time," you know? And so it's maybe not exactly the same where like I knew something was going on this whole time. It wasn't like some of those illnesses where like, why do I feel sick every couple weeks and there's never anything actually wrong? But it is frustrating in the way our insurance works nowadays, where you have to like wait till you're seriously hurt to really get help.
I just want to read this
Yeah.
text that Dr.
Yeah.
Sparks sent to me the other day that had me laughing so hard on the severity of his
Go
pain.
right ahead. Go right
He
ahead.
says, dude, comma, I can't even poop, comma, I just get to sit down for 30 to 90 seconds and hope that whatever falls out of me in that time is sufficient, that I don't have to go back in 10 minutes. That is, this man's back is hurting.
There you go.
Well,
So
I'm really sorry, Steve. I thought you were just trying to get attention this whole time.
I was just faking it the whole time. Yeah. No, we'll see. They try to get me some pain management so I can go to physical therapy, because I've known one person who had a like seemingly successful back surgery, and that was Dr. Meow Meow's dad. Other than that, everybody I know is like, nope, it's worse.
You're
Don't
in it
ever do
for
this.
the long haul?
So yeah. And I don't know what it was like when he first had the surgery, because that was before I knew any of you all. But
So when he had backs, I'm trying to remember when it was. Because I'll be honest, until you just said that, I completely forgot that he ever did.
yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's successful, is because we don't hear about how bad it is, you know. So, the other one is a little bit different, but same sort of thing, where those that lived in anywhere from New York to Metro Detroit back in 2003, we had that big power outage, like whole Eastern Seaboard. Like to me, it seems like it was a week, but I think it was only like 2 days. But like,
Detroit was out of power?
like New York, everywhere, just like a huge, like half the country was out, like no power.
What? When was
I
this?
remember this.
2003. I remember I was at
that's okay.
like summer football camp, whatever we were doing, like early preseason. And one of our assistant coaches, like volunteer coaches, was an FBI agent. And we're in the middle of practice, and all of a sudden he like gets a call and jumps in his car and he's gone. We're like, oh shoot. And like 2 years after 9/11, we're like, oh no, what's happening this time?
Yeah.
And it was because power was just out everywhere. You couldn't find a gas station open that could pump your gas. Everything was like a ghost town, which was really cool at 17, because you're just running around wild, like nothing, you know, post-apocalyptic, the world doesn't matter, do whatever you want sort of thing.
Wait, so what happened?
I mean, there was an issue with a single power plant, but then it strained out the system and took out like many power plants along the way. I can't remember exactly what the cause was. But
Jeez.
that was one of those. They're like, the bigger it was, the more, I guess, extended this issue was, the more kind of creepy, cool, almost like I said, that it's almost the same feel that you get from Halloween as a kid, like this post-apocalyptic, oh, what's going to happen, compared to now, like mass storm takes out power for like our whole area, and I'm just like anxious and
Man.
annoyed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
It hit
was there any
Canada too.
speculation that
That's
with
wild.
that wide of a blackout that there is some kind of like
It was like one power station that then overstrained the next one down the line, and it failed, and it like was a chain reaction or something.
okay,
The
but there wasn't
blackout
any
was
that
due to
something
a
was going on.
software bug in the alarm system at the control room of First Energy, which rendered operators unaware of the need to redistribute load after overload transmission lines dropped in voltage, which should have been a manageable local blackout cascaded into the collapse of much of the Northeast regional electricity distribution system.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so what's funny, on the east side of Michigan, we had no power. If you went like an hour and a half north or west, there was power. So sometimes, I think once we drove like 45 minutes to get gas where someone actually could get gas. But
Yeah, that does sound apocalyptic. Everyone is just sitting at that gas station, just hoarding it.
now, it being 2003, we were still not even anywhere near as reliant on the internet at that point. So you can imagine now how much harder it would be. But along the same lines, though, with like the back injury and like finding something wrong too, Taylor, who's been on here, my wife, Meow Meow's sister, talked about when we were trying to get, or she was trying to get pregnant the first time for our oldest, and it took 2 years. And like there was no clear answer. Maybe it's this, maybe it's this. And like, had there been something wrong that could be treated, it would have felt almost a relief to know that this is what's going on, rather than it's like limbo, like, will this ever happen? Are we just like, out of luck, basically?
There is. So I brought this example up pre-recording to you. You tell me what you think. I have this really guilty pleasure. If there's like like Dr. Pimple Popper and like some sort of video of like a cyst that's been just like growing for years, and somebody like there's a strange reinforcing value of me watching those types of videos, or I'm like, oh, that's so, it's just like so gross, it's so
Satisfying.
disgusting, yeah, then I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, what's
Dude,
next?
I
wanna
feel
watch
like there's a
another one.
lot of more people, I would say, than not find that stuff like satisfying. At least I know I do.
Yeah,
I know a lot of
yeah.
people that do, and then every once in a while you'll hear like someone say, "No, that's really gross."
Yeah,
But I
it
think it's
grosses me
just
out.
really.
Man, well, I had a
What
friend who
part
had a
not?
cyst. I had a friend who had a cyst, and he's like, "There's a video," and like he showed me the video, and I was like, "Oh, it was like just a little," and then it was done. And like I wanted like an eruption. What happened?
Yeah, Steve, what
I
is
can
it that?
see horrible accidents. You know what I mean? Like when I went through EMT firefighter school, they'd show you pictures and video, things like degloving, like where the skin is just removed completely.
Mm.
You know, decapitations, they're not really that much, but like here and there, there'd be some like severe things that don't bother me at all. But something about snot, pus, vomit, that bothers me more than blood and guts. It's weird.
Oh man, I don't love vomit. Not a fan.
You
I can
don't?
watch it. I can't smell it. If I smell it, I'm done.
Meow Meow loves vomit. Loves vomit. That's why
Do you
it's
get
so
a lot
hard
of
for him to find
animals?
them.
Do you get a lot of like
so-
animals throwing up?
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, that's why
like
it's hard for him to find a girlfriend. It's like no one else loves vomit the way he loves vomit. So
this is not true, guys. This is not a true statement. But
It's
yeah, no,
not true.
I
It's
do
not
see
true
a
that
lot,
it's okay.
and
Can
I see a
you,
lot of animals that are puking.
do you ever get like the horse pimples?
Horse pimples.
You ever get a horse with a pimple? That's
No,
like a big
I don't
thing.
see horse. No, I did have this one surprise, weird, deep cyst thing. It was like a medium, like probably like a 60-pound dog. And I, when I saw the sore on this dog's, it was like on its like back of its, pretty much its butt. I mean, if you want to think about like how a dog is, it was just to like the left side of the tail in like the meaty area. And the hair was kind of gone. He was digging at it, and it really just looked like a hot spot. Like, do you guys know what I mean by a hot
Yeah.
spot in a dog? That's what I thought it was, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let's clip it and clean it, and then just some antibiotics and probably some steroids, take down the inflammation, will do the trick. And so then we get it in the back, start treating it, and then one of the assistants is like, Dr. Clements, do you want to take a look at this? And I look at it and I go, that's not a hot spot. But you could see like a draining tract that was present. And so then I just gave it a little push, and then stuff started to come out, and I'm like, all right, let's throw some lidocaine cream on it. And really, I'll be honest, I should have done like a local block because the cream only works like topically. So like lather that thing up in lidocaine cream, let it sit for 7 to 10 minutes or so. But then when I started applying pressure, it was just like shooting over my shoulder, and I was like, this is so satisfying.
I love that. I love that so
No,
much. Did you
not-
Or
record
not
it?
for
actually,
me.
one, Kyle, look up anal gland abscess. I feel like you would actually kind of find that one satisfying.
I'm familiar. Yeah, I'm familiar with those. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
for animals. Yeah, not the
Yeah.
human ones. But
I didn't realize that people have small little anal glands. I did
Mhm.
not know that.
Yeah, I
Talking
stick
about
to
expressing
the
yourself.
oh. The
Oh,
sebaceous cysts on a horse though, watching those, like take an actual like knife or box cutter and like open it up a little bit and then just like boop and it's just like
Wait, yeah,
it
let
just
me
pours.
just a second. Let me.
Enjoy
let's
audience.
we're gonna change back to switch back. You can watch your video while we're talking about other things.
No, I
Um,
just want to see what he meant. Honestly, what you're describing in the horse, like those happen in dogs too. And
Really?
I mean,
Okay.
it
go ahead, finish what
Go
you're
ahead,
saying.
Steve.
when they're most extreme, they're most satisfying. There's the tie-in. Continue on.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's also something about like near misses too, like being the more extreme near miss you had. Maybe it's not really the joy of seeing others' misfortune as much as like, all right, this massive tornado, what's going on?
Tornado.
Tornado. Look what you've done to me. I
Ralph
blame
Nader.
you because of the tongue twisters. Massive tornado, one town over, takes off like half the town. You can gossip, talk about it, and like, oh, look what almost happened to me, way more than if it's like 2 states away. You know what I mean? Uh
Sure.
the ability to gossip about something and have that interaction with others may be enough of an attention component as well, even if it's not about yourself. And then if it is kind of about yourself, like I talked about in the true crime episode, where I rode with that mass murderer a week before he did it, that was more
Mhm.
reinforcing to be able to tell that story than if it was 6 months before, or if it wasn't me but a friend of mine. You know what I mean? It's something about that close call and the reaction you get from that close call, I think, makes it more reinforcing as well.
Yeah, so this is all we're alluding to attention function mostly here.
Yeah, it's some, I think, also, all right, big storm coming, tornado warning going off, whatever. There's a level of excitement there, and it may be negative excitement, but excitement nonetheless. That
What do you mean by negative excitement? What does that mean?
I just mean, like, you're not joyful. You're not feeling excited in the terms of like you're
Like
happy.
nervous?
You're nervous, you're shaking, but like you're in an
Mhm.
excited state is what I'm getting at, which is
Mm.
the same physiologically as when you might be really, really excited for something positive too. And therefore, if you have this pairing between it being reinforcing situations and this excitement, just being excited about something could be reinforcing, and therefore, okay, this giant storm's coming, could be very dangerous, but I'm actually excited because it's coming. I guess I find it reinforcing that it's coming, even though it should be more of a negative fear response rather
Yeah.
than a
You see
just
that
excitement.
trope. You see that trope in TV shows with like the bored homemaker or like the somebody who just doesn't get a lot of excitement and then like suddenly they're being robbed or something like that and they're like they go home and they're just like, "Wow, like I lived for a minute." Like that I know what
Yeah.
you're saying. I don't have a lot of those. I don't know if I experienced that per se, but I know. I know
I'm
what you're
sure I can blame my mom for the storm stuff, probably, at least, because she used to take me out to look for the funnel clouds when I was little. Like, oh, let's go see if we see a tornado. And like, it was exciting. It was fun. Like, oh, let's check it out. And if we see it come, we're going to run back inside.
Yeah.
Versus someone who had like a real fear. I didn't even probably have a healthy enough fear of tornadoes. You know what I mean?
That was me. I was so fearful of storms when I was younger. My mom would say that if the wind started to blow outside and it was like slightly cloudy, I would be visibly terrified.
Yeah.
I think the only other job that I may have been satisfied with, other than behavior analyst, could have been storm chaser. Like, I think that's the one other thing that I would have like, all right, this is cool.
We got a big screen TV when I was in 4th grade, and we immediately went out and bought Twister for that reason, because storm chasing was so exciting. Yeah.
I loved. I mean, it was not a well-made movie, but I loved that movie as a kid just because.
I don't remember I mean, I remember them chasing storms. I know there's like a undertone of like a love story, or like a husband and wife that were divorced or something like that had to team up.
He showed up to get the divorce papers signed with his new fiance, and the thing that he had developed to track and test and learn about tornadoes was ready. So they decided to go, Dorothy. So they decided to go along with them to try to get this thing up in the cloud. And then, of course, like, I don't know, 1-2 storms in, his new fiance is like, I'm getting out of here. This is crazy. You're all crazy. I don't want to marry you anymore.
I forgot I had it.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like every time we record, we reference a movie or something, and you literally turn around and grab it as if you knew we were bringing it up.
The cows, I remember, and there's Dorothy, right? Is that Dorothy there?
Dorothy was the round.
No, that's a tire.
No, that's a tire.
Yeah.
Dorothy.
I couldn't see it.
That's a car tire.
Dorothy was like a metal barrel type thing that had the top that opened up and set up a bunch of sensors into the
That's
sky.
Right. That's right.
But
Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Regardless, I love that was one of those movies that it was just because of the storm that I enjoyed it so much, really. So, see what other potential things.
The idea of serial killers. I mean, you referenced the Kalamazoo, the Uber guy, but having the mass numbers, I mean, makes it far more like, wow, like that is crazy.
More compelling.
Yeah, I don't want to say the word satisfying because obviously that would sound horrible, but like
no, we get it. You're a horrible person. I understand. It's no problem.
No, but like if you hear about someone killing 30 people, it's way more. Like I'm going to read more about them and their motives and why and how, versus someone that it was like 3. Like, because at 3 or 4, I'm like, were they even a serial killer?
You know, I think you're right with compelling is a good word for it. I would say it's kind of like a letdown because, and I think it's because
that sounds terrible.
I know, but it's a sensationalization. No, I'm a horrible person. We've established this many times. Yeah, they should have tried harder. No, generally though, like the media, everybody's talking about, oh, there's a serial killer on the loose, you know, all this going on and that sort of thing, or they found so and so, there's a serial killer, and like the excitement that gets going about this topic. Then when you find out, like, I don't know, does that really hit the definition? Like that, it seems like they just got angry with 2 people and that was it, but you're just using that word to drum up excitement. It does seem like there's a little bit of a letdown, not in terms of like you are let down, but you've built up this excitement that can't be met, if that makes sense. It's a different kind of letdown.
Yeah, there's like a, that wasn't as interesting as I thought it was going to be.
Or even not even on the numbers point, but going into the methods? Why they were doing it, like the more extreme of them doing it, I feel like makes it far more.
That would be called a motive, Bradley.
Yeah.
The more like pathological they seem, the more like what traditionally would be considered like psychopathic, even though I don't really think it's not a good term because that just has like determines how well you encounter and understand your emotions. Not like it doesn't make you a dangerous person to have like psychopathy or so. What's the other one?
Sociopathy?
Is that sociopathy? Now I know it's sociopath. I'm
Nah.
trying to think of it's sociopathy. Yeah, sure.
We know what
I
you
don't know if
mean.
that's correct or
Yeah,
not.
it's correct enough. We make up words here. It's fine. The function of the word
We have two
matters more
doctors.
than the
Two or
form.
three of us are about as highly educated as one can be, and we're saying run with the words.
What I'm saying is, as a behavior analyst, the function of the word matters more than the form or anything of that line. And so, if you all understand what the hell I'm talking about, then it doesn't really matter
Exactly.
Is that
if I
why
said it
you
right or
is
not.
that why we have so many typos all the time?
No, that's
'Cause
because I don't care. Anyways, those words get thrown around, but like most people who would be diagnosed with being a sociopath or a psychopath do not do these horrible things. It's just people often attribute, oh, look, and this person was a psychopath or something like that. And so
yeah.
the more intense, the more delusional their behavior, the more out there compared to what people think is normal, the more attention there is to it. And the more reinforcing it is to see, like, oh, why did this person do it? Like, it's interesting to try to figure them out. But that still is correlated with how intense or large and widespread the crimes were as well. I also, because I consume a lot of true crime, I always find it interesting. Anybody that seems to find those stories interesting or reinforcing in any way, shape, or form, always jump to that. Like, there's two people, were killed in this area and there's some overlap. Like, it seems somewhat similar, must be a serial killer, like immediately. It always, you see it with like police too. And then other times where it's like, nope, it's not. And like, are you sure? Because this actually really does seem like it, but everybody's just saying, nope, it's not what's going on here. So, it's interesting how you would be hearing about an atrocity, someone else's worst day, like lives ruined. And if you think about that part, you're sad. But if you just think about the person that's doing it and how interesting either the crime or the psychology behind it is, that's reinforcing. It's strange to think of it. It's like a dichotomy there. There's a very clear, both are going on, but both don't seem like they should be true at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
I was listening to one the other day, and a kid went missing in the Smoky Mountains. The little boy's name was Dennis Martin, and they're like, his father didn't leave the area for, I don't know, years. I mean, it may have even been a decade. I'm not sure. Searching because he was sure there had to be evidence that his son was taken, but there was no evidence other than this child is disappearing. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of out of nowhere. Nobody knows. They're playing 1 minute, the next minute they're gone. Yet, like, it's almost like if it just happened and you don't have the answers, that's more aversive than knowing there's this bad actor out here that maybe I can see justice one day or something like that too. So that's maybe escaping from that aversiveness to an extent, even though you're not going to be able to escape it completely, add some reinforcement to it as well. So
Right.
let's see. We've had attention because of what you're going through. Got attention in terms of being able to talk to each other and gossip about it, sort of thing. Potential escape from either the not knowing of whatever's going on with you or not knowing what happened to a family member, that sort of thing. So it's the escape component and the excitement component. It kind of seems like maybe why it's hard to pinpoint why we like these things is because all these things are probably true for the people that do like the sensationalization. And so we know that when there are many different sources of reinforcement, things tend to become reinforcing in their own right, and they don't have to be tied directly to that backup reinforcer anymore. And so, although when something bad is happening to you, it's going to be aversive, it's also, to me anyway, it seems pretty obvious why it's fairly normal to find it reinforcing to kind of be on the extremer end of things as well. So you're not weird, except for Kyle, who doesn't like these sort of things.
Thank you.
Because he likes
But
Tootsie
likes
Pops.
and pus.
Just give me the zits. All the zits.
Yeah. So yeah, let's look at the positives. You know, you like vomit. Oh well, it doesn't make you weird. It just means that you have an extra reinforcer that others don't have. You know, you like listening to true crime. Let's think about, you know, the good stories that come out of some of these travesties, and you know, be thankful that we don't always have to experience all these things ourselves to learn from them. Just always look to the bright side, because you never know when you make that next giant bike jump and you go down the big hill and you're pedaling really hard, really fast, and you hit it a little too hard and hit the tree limb with your head, takes it right off, and you're done. And that's all there is to it. So
And that could
just
be
be
it.
careful out there. Yeah,
could be it.
yeah.
Unless you have a helmet on.